fellow Toastmasters and guests. As Lynn mentioned, today I will be talking to you about our project House to Home. Now, I've mentioned it a few times that we purchased this house in Snohomish about 6 years ago from the original owner. So the man that we purchased the house from actually grew up in this house. And so to him, it was his home. But when we purchased it, it was just a house. When we purchased it, though, he did plan on making additional changes to this house because it is at least 50 years old. And so he left us with these plans of what they were thinking of doing before they decided they'd rather move away to Bellingham. So today, let me tell you about one of the projects that we have in this house to home scope. Ideally, when you move into a house, it has everything you want. And what we had did, it worked until some things didn't. It was maybe around Christmas time, holidays, worst time of all, that our stove decided to stop working. Now, most people would start to think, maybe we should replace the stove. Me taking things to extremes, I said, why don't we remodel our kitchen? So we started to look into those plans that those owners left us, and we said, okay, well, their vision was to move the kitchen to the family room and then make that old kitchen a new living space, which would be open to the current living room. And I thought, this is great. So we took out those plans, we took a photocopy of it and marked them up and said, here's what our ideal vision would look like. So now that we have the scope of what we wanted to do, we were thinking about who is going to help us do this. Obviously, there's two parts to any home improvement project. There could be one part, but two parts. For us was the homeowners, myself and my husband, and the other key stakeholders, such as our kids and the visitors. Well, the roles that have to occur is who's going to plan this? Me, myself. I like to plan things. And so, as you can see, I'm marking up what we want to do. How long is it going to take? What do we need to think about when they're remodeling? How can we make sure that we can still live in our house at the same time? Because I know some remodels to that extent actually require you to leave your house in order for it to happen. And that wasn't something that we wanted to do. But then I also thought, well, we should have someone who can keep track of exactly what they're doing day to day, because it is a big project, it is a big cost. We want to make sure that ultimately we're all satisfied and euphoric with the results. Next was the general contractor. Now, this is where typically people would go get different quotes from other companies, but we had actually used this general contractor previously to remodel our bathroom 3 years ago. So we already knew we liked this contractor. Their price point was amazing. We had some people quote us for a bathroom for the same price this guy was willing to remodel our kitchen and living room. So with that general contractor, they included a project manager who would tell us the timelines, exactly what we could expect. They had a designer. So we said, we want to see this, we want to see that. Is this doable? They would let us know if we need to have some sort of inspection to make sure there weren't any structural walls being taken down. And then, of course, all the subcontractors. So you have all of the people who built the cabinets, the people who did the drywall, all of that they handled, and we just made sure that they kept us happy. With that, you can see here's our project timeline. Of course, it took us about a month to really nail down what were we looking for. And as I mentioned, we wanted it to be in two phases. First, we wanted them to make the new kitchen so that we could use the old kitchen. And then after they completed the new kitchen, they could remodel the rest of the living space. We nailed down our contractor. We said, hey, we're not sick, come visit us. And he came, he drew it out for us. He said, yes, I can do what you want to do, and I can do it within your budget. And we said, sweet. And then he said, and we can start in a week. And we're like, so he went to his vacation out in Europe. And when he came back, we started the remodel. That gave us enough time to order our materials. It gave them enough time to order their materials because we were replacing our flooring and we actually needed to buy that new oven. And it gave them plenty of time to get ready to do the construction. So not only did we have the planning phase, we had the get ready, order the material phase, and actual construction phase, we did have that final milestone of making sure, again, that what they delivered was what we asked for and everybody was happy. Now, one of the other things that we did in this project plan was to come up with a risk management plan. If anybody's ever watched any show on HGTV, home improvement shows, you know that something's always going to go wrong. So we thought about it. We wanted to make sure that we budgeted for any issues that they might come across when they're doing the remodel. Luckily, we've already evaluated for asbestos and had our floors remodeled previously, so we knew what they were getting into. We just didn't know exactly what might happen, changing some of the plumbing, etc. So we made sure that they stayed within our budget, but then we actually had that extra budget that they didn't know about. Additionally, we wanted to make sure that were we comfortable with prolonged construction? As I mentioned, this vendor worked with us for our bathroom, and they originally told us 2 weeks, and it took 3 weeks. So that was a 50% overage. Were we okay with that for this remodel? And the answer was yes. The impact was low because we knew as long as we had one kitchen, which is the next risk, then we were okay. But say they weren't able to stage the kitchens, what would be the issue there? And we figured, worst case, we eat out a couple days. Kids don't mind that at all. So in the end, to determine what our success factors for this project was getting that super awesome kitchen. Who doesn't love a super awesome kitchen? I spend most of my time there if I'm not in the office working from home. Also, completing within the budget. Nobody wants to go to the bank and say, I need money right away, or figure out how you're going to end up paying for something that you weren't expecting. And so it's important that we stay within budget, and it was delivered somewhat on time. Again, we were comfortable with the 50%. If it took them 6 weeks, that's okay, as long as we were satisfied stakeholders. If we could be euphoric about the end result, that was all that mattered. And I look forward to telling you about how it turned out in my next speech.